Hello, I'm John, Million Mile AMSOIL dealer. You may be thinking, what's a Million Mile AMSOIL dealer? Well, let me explain. Back in September of 1999, I decided to start a delivery service. So I purchased this 99 Chevy cargo van, the one I'm sitting in right now. And about the middle of September, I made my first delivery in Louisville, Kentucky. And from there on until about the first of the year, January of 2000, I was driving 5,000 to 6,000 miles a month, changing my oil once a month. But after the turn of the year, there in 2000, I started driving 8,000 to 10,000 miles a month. See the USA in my Chevrolet. You know what I'm talking about? Well, some of you out there, you're driving 25, 30, 40,000 miles a year. And what are you doing? Changing oil more than you probably would like to be. If I'm driving 8,000 to 10,000 miles a month, I'm changing my oil sometimes twice a month or every 2 weeks. And I got to thinking, if I keep this up, I'm going to be changing my oil 20 times a year. So I became really open to extended oil change. So I start asking everybody I come in contact with that was driving a vehicle down the road, hey, what type of oil are you using? And I got all kinds of answers. This oil is the greatest, that oil is the greatest. And I change my oil religiously every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. And I've got 100,000 miles on my oil. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, if your oil is so doggone good, then why are you changing it every 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Well, somebody just tell me that they're changing their oil every 10,000 miles. That's all I'm looking for. Somebody? I made another delivery to Louisville, Kentucky around the 1st of April there in 2000. And on the way home, traveling Interstate 71 north towards Cincinnati, I decided to stop and take a break. And another van just like mine pulls in next to me. And the fella gets out, and I strike a conversation up with him. Hey, how's the business doing? What type of fuel mileage you getting? And then I ask him, by the way, what type of oil do you use? And he said, I use AMSOIL. AMSOIL, I've never heard of it. I said, why are you using AMSOIL? He said, because it's synthetic and I can go 25,000 miles on an oil change. And what did you just say? He said, I can go 25,000 miles on an oil change. And I said, that's unbelievable. I said, how's your engine doing? He says, doing great. And I said, how long have you been using it? He said, for 2 years. And you haven't blowed your engine up yet? Nope. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is this guy lying to me? And so I asked him, I said, would you do me a favor? Would you pop the hood on your van and pull the dipstick? I'd like to look at the oil. And he says, sure. So he pulls the dipstick out, and I'm looking at the oil on the dipstick, and it's black. It's not that honey brown color that new oil has. And I said, hey, I said, your oil's black. I said, how many miles you got on this? He said, oh, around 18,000 miles. I said, aren't you going to change it? He said, nope, not until 25,000 miles. So I slipped my fingers down the dipstick, got that oil between my fingers. Now, I've been involved with oil for years. I can tell by the feel of an oil when it needs to be changed. And I'm squishing that around between my two fingers, and it's smooth and silky as butter. And little did I realize that I had liquid gold between my fingers. I thanked him for his time, hopped back in my van, headed down the highway, and my mind was racing. Man, I was looking for a 10,000 mile oil change. He tells me there's a 25,000 mile oil change. He just stretched my mind out like a bungee cord. And I'm thinking, why am I struggling with this? Finally, it came to me. John, you're addicted. You're addicted to the 5,000 mile oil change. Just like you're addicted to the 3,000 to 5,000 mile oil change, right? I'm thinking, we're living in the Stone Age with our oil. How many of you have a vinyl record in your home? How many of you play cassette tapes in your vehicle? And yet we're still using dinosaur oil in our vehicles? So I got home and done some homework over the next couple weeks. On the 1st of May, when I signed up as a dealer and ordered in the AMSOIL products, it cost me $30 for a dealer membership. A preferred customer costs you $20, and you can have the product shipped right to your doorstep, and you pay wholesale price. As I was installing the engine oil in my vehicle, I think it was around May 8th, 2000, at 68,250 miles. After I emptied out a quart bottle, I was reading on the back of it. You're not going to believe what I'm going to say. Now, this was back in 2000. It says good for 35,000 miles on the back of that bottle. Now, today, AMSOIL don't say that on this 0W30 oil. It just says 25,000 miles. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. 10,000, 25,000, now 35,000 miles on an oil change? All of a sudden, something said, John, go ahead. Run that all out to 35,000 miles. Test these products out. See if they're any good. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. A week later, I took my van in and had the Chevrolet dealer there in Greenville, Ohio, change over the transmission fluid, install the AMSOIL transmission fluid and the AMSOIL differential fluid, and down the highway I went on my million-mile journey with the AMSOIL products. In the meantime, I order in an oil analysis kit from AMSOIL so I can take a sample and send it in to get a report to see how the oil was doing. I reached my 35,000 miles in August of 2000. Matter of fact, I went 500 miles over. And while I'm under my van changing the oil, I caught a sample. I'm thinking, this oil is trash. It's black. It's got to be depleted. There is no way I'm going to get a good report on this oil. I send the oil sample into AMSOIL. A week later, I get a report back. Call AMSOIL up on the phone. I say, hey, will you go over this report with me? And they said, sure. And the first thing they said was, John, you need to change your PCV valve. You have high nitrite levels in your oil. And I go, okay. I had never changed it. I had 103,000 miles on my van, and you're supposed to change it every 50,000 miles. Then I said, what about the oil? And what they told me shocked me beyond belief. And it'll shock you too. So for the rest of the story, would you leave your name and email address in the box below the arrow? And I'll send you out a link to my free web report with the results of my oil analysis. Also, I'm going to share with you how the engine, transmission, and differential performed over that million miles. It's pretty incredible. We'll talk to you real soon, and happy trails.